G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. This week I'm setting off west. I've done all the north work, come up the east coast of Australia, heading off to Darwin today. Solo, about 700 miles. Should be awesome, and join me. Learning by Doing presents The Mad Dash. Watch us every Tuesday morning on YouTube. Join me and multiple crew members as I take our Crocodile catamaran from Sydney, Australia all the way up around the top to Lombok in Indonesia. Made possible by our patrons. Thank you very much, you guys, and also our sponsors here on board for this trip. Thanks so much, guys. So as you can see here on the map, this is my route, Thursday Island all the way over to Darwin. I might stop for a night at the very north of the Wessel Islands. It's really not out of my way. I do go right past there, and it seems like there's a real sort of horseshoe bay right on the top there. I could just basically just like pull in. So depending on how I feel, it's 350 miles over to there, which will be, you know, less than 2 days. 2 days, 2 nights. Depending on how that goes, you know, if I'm tired or not, or just feel like having a break, I'll either stop there or I won't. If I stop, I'll just stop for a day and a night, and then it's another 380 over to Darwin from there. So basically it's in the middle. It would be a perfect place to stop. But anyway, I'm just going to shut all the hatches. I've got the dinghy secure, I've got all the lifelines done up, I've got the sails ready. Anyway, we'll get the anchor up and get moving out of here. I was sort of waiting for the tide to change. We are still facing a current, but the tide has changed, but the current's still this way. But up here in the Torres Straits, who knows what the currents do. But the wind has just picked up. We've got about 15 knots now, so that'll be enough anyway, and we'll just set off. Can't wait. This is going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this solo passage. First long solo passage on Trade Runner or any catamaran, so I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good challenge. So I always close all these hatches from the outside when I'm going to sea, just because, well, it's learning by doing. One time I closed one from the inside and I couldn't see that a rope, I think it was the furling line or some sort of line, had just gone under the sill, under the lip of the hatch. And so I dogged it down, but obviously that rope was just enough that the hatch was open a couple of centimeters, a couple of millimeters on that side. And it was enough that when waves came over, they forced their way through. So I always do it from the outside now, and then I can check that there's no line stuck under the lip. There's a good little tip for you. And we're off! We're off! Woohoo! So I'm going to get out past these reefs over here. You can see here we're in the middle of a reef system. Once we get out in this channel here, I'll go up forward and get rid of the all the lines, the anchoring stuff, sort all that out, and then I'll get some sail up. Right, so here I'm unfurling the jib. You'll notice in my left hand I've got the red furling line,
and in my right hand I've got the jib sheets. I don't like to let the furling line freewheel as I'm pulling out the jib, as if a gust of wind hits and the jib comes out real fast, the furling line can actually overrun and you get a bit of a knot in the drum, so next time you want to furl your sail you're all knotted up.
Whew. Engines off, we are sailing. We won't need the engines again until we get there. Bye bye Thursday Island.
Oop, line in the water. I need to go and sort that out before it gets tangled around the rudder. So only a few miles out of Thursday Island, the wind went from 15 knots down to about 8-9 knots. It just seemed to, it must have been funneling through the islands there, and as soon as I got away from them it just cut right out. So jib wasn't doing it, we weren't getting enough speed, so I had to furl that away and then come up the front and furl out the screecher. So when I'm by myself, obviously I've got to do all this alone. So that involves just letting the whole screecher out from the front, letting it flap a bit, and then going back and winching on the sheets. Normally you'd do that with 2 people and get it all done seamlessly without any flogging, but yeah, seems to work okay.
Alright, I'm about 20 miles into it now, just passed out into open water to be honest. As you see on the map there, that's called the Torres Strait Compulsory Pilotage. It's got nothing to do with me. Interesting fact, all of the shipping that comes through this way and goes down the inside of the Great Barrier Reef, all the way down to Sydney and further, all the coal ships, the iron ore ships, the fuel ships, the car loading ships, all these, there's hundreds and hundreds of them. They all have to take on board a pilot from Thursday Island, and he stays on all the way to Cairns basically, which is a few hundred miles, 600-700 miles maybe, and that pilot has to stay on till then. And then I guess he waits down there, has a few days off, and then gets one back up, so that every ship, commercial ship, has to have a pilot on board for that whole leg, because the shipping channel is basically, that's all there is in between the reef and the mainland. So there's lots of turns, lots of twists and turns, and these ships are doing 18 to 20 knots sometimes. So there's a massive big industry here in Thursday Island. You just see the pilot boats taking people out all the time. They'll come out and they have to come all the way out here, which is nearly 20 miles, pull up alongside one of these ships that's slowed down, pilot goes on board, and then the pilot boat goes back into Thursday Island, picks up another one and comes out again. Yeah, pretty interesting situation. I guess it's like for the safety of the Great Barrier Reef anyway. Yeah, so I'm out into open ocean now, just past Booby Island. Pretty interesting looking place. That's the last land I'll see now until I, for the next 2 days, next 40 hours or so. It's the last little island, and as you can see, it's not a shape of a booby, which I thought it might be, but you could see there was that whole, what was it, the northern side of that island was completely white, and it's just booby poop. So I flew over there and they all took off as you saw, and they started chasing the drone, so I took off as well, but a lot of boobies. I do like boobies though, love boobies. So yeah, just going to set my course now for Marching Bar Island, it's called. Yeah, we've got to just cruise into it. It's very low winds. We've got 8.2 knots of apparent and we're doing 6.6. Not the most comfortable, it's a bit of a wobbly swell, but it is a very shallow area around here, so I'm guessing once we get out to sea things will start to line up a bit better, but I would like another 7-8 knots of 10 knots of wind. I'll keep you up to date though, see how we go. Wow, it is slow going out here. We've only got
we have increased our speed to be the normal earlier.
there's a ship picking up a pilot back there. We've only got 8 knots of wind, and we're only doing 5.5 knots. And it's been like that for about 3 hours now. So we're making very slow ground. But actually I don't really care, like it's actually nice. It's the first time since I came this way that I'm out in the ocean and don't really have to keep much of a watch out. I've got the radar, the AIS, there'll be no small little runabouts out here, so all the ships that are around are coming up on AIS. There's no islands, there's no reefs. It's only 15 metres deep here, but there's no squalls around. I've just been literally lying on the couch, getting up every 40 or so minutes, lying on the couch reading a book. I started this book this morning. Can't remember where I got it. It's been on the boat for a little while. I haven't thought about reading it, but I'm literally up to here. So I'm halfway through. It's a pretty good book. It's a pretty good story. But anyway, I think, 4 hours into it and I'm halfway through the book. So by tonight I will have finished that book. So so it's quite nice, just cruising along slowly, like not a care in the world. Autopilot's just going backwards and forwards slowly. I've got it on its slowest setting just because there's no, we're not going fast enough to need much of an autopilot. And just cruising along. Got the screecher out. Yeah, the wind's at like 160, so just screecher out, and I'll probably leave that up all night. Anyway, I'll get back to you later. O'clock. Mahoonin, 10, 11, 12. Getting along pretty good. Alright, good morning. It's about 7 o'clock now. The sun feels like it's just coming up, but it's just because it's behind a cloud. It hasn't actually shown itself this morning yet, but it will soon. Looks like a nice day. The colour of the water was really nice yesterday, and it's really brown looking today. I don't know quite why. The wind picked up a little bit from yesterday afternoon. I guess at about 10 o'clock at night it picked up a couple of knots. We're sort of at 11, 12 knots all the time now from 7 or 8 yesterday, so it's made a big difference. We're sort of averaging high 7s, 8s now, which is good. We've seen a few 12s and 13s, but I would say it's about 1.5 metre swell, 1.5 metre chop, something like that, and the odd bigger wave than that, but pretty comfortable. It was a good night, no one around. I was setting my alarm for 40 minutes. There's a sailboat, part of the Ark rally in front of me. He's sort of slowly overtaking me. It's a 65-foot Halberg Rassie. We met them down the line a few days ago. They were motoring all afternoon at like 9 or 10 knots because there wasn't much wind, so they caught me up. But since we've had enough wind, and I'm guessing they're sailing now, we're sort of holding their own. They may be doing half a knot quicker than us, so just getting ahead, but not by much. I felt quite comfortable having longer sleeps. There was a fishing fleet, but they were a long way south of me. I could just see their lights on the horizon, miles and miles away. I had the radar on with the safety zones. I had the AIS on, so I felt quite good. And I had really good, like 40-minute sleeps. Woke up, came out here, looked around a bit, went back to sleep, and I basically right through the night from 9:30 onwards until 6:30. So feel pretty good, feel pretty fresh. I'll have a few sleeps during the day today just to bank it up, but all right, over and out for now. Oh, g'day guys. I said I was going to get back to you soon, but I didn't. The whole day's just drifted by, and it's now 4:30 No, 5:30 afternoon, 5:30 p.m. I think the last time I talked to you was just after I got up. It was around 7 a.m. Whew, that's what it's like offshore. Days just drift by. So what have I been doing all day? Well, I've been doing a lot of pondering. Yep, did a lot of pondering. Probably more than anything else was pondering, really. Finished the other book and started another one. Cleaned the kitchen. Yeah, got a little bit of lunch. Well, I didn't actually make any lunch. I just ate some chips and some chocolate cookies and a cup of tea. And well, that's about all, to be honest. I've been sitting out on the deck watching waves, and I've been yeah, just pondering, just basically pondering. That's awesome. It's very rare that in this world with you know, constant stimulation by other humans and just internet mainly, that you just get a chance to let your brain wander off and not feel guilty about it, not like feel like you should be doing something else. Someone else is asking you to do something else, and if you don't do it, you feel lazy and all these sorts of things. Being out in a boat, especially by yourself, obviously, your brain just wanders off, and next thing you know, it's 2 hours later, and you're like, oh, I'm a bit hungry. Should I cook something? And yeah, you're on your own time. I love it. I absolutely love it. The boat's just doing its thing. I haven't changed the sail once since I left. It's just been the screecher out on the starboard side, and sometimes we're going a bit faster, sometimes we're going a bit slower, but in all we're doing a 7 knot average, I think, maybe a bit more. Doesn't really matter. I haven't seen a single person today, haven't seen a plane fly over. I saw a bunch of flying fish, haven't seen any birds, haven't seen any, well, I don't think we'll see whales anymore. I think that's on the other coast. Haven't seen any dolphins, haven't seen any fishing boats, haven't hardly, there was a couple of AIS contacts this morning, ships going into Torres Straits, but I'm way away from the shipping channel now. No sign of life whatsoever. Boat's just cruising along and we're loving it. Let's go outside for a look. 109 miles to go, 7 knot average, speed over ground 6.6 right now. It goes up and down obviously. The wind's a bit more on the beam than it was yesterday, but we've only got 10, 11 knots. Yeah, it's about 120 degrees. I mean, right now technically I could have the mainsail and the jib up and I'd probably be going a little faster, just because we've got enough angle now. But yeah, I don't know, that would involve stopping the boat and getting the screecher down, stopping the boat, turning around, putting it into the wind, getting this main up, and you know, Murphy's Law, 2 hours later the wind will come around to 140 degrees again. I'll have to do that whole rigmarole again. So I think I'm going to stop at this Marchenbach Island tomorrow morning. It's 109 miles away. So yeah, there's no real rush to be fast through the night now. You know, if I get there after sunrise, I'll be happy. I'll just leave the screecher doing what it's doing. It's comfortable as we're just cruising along at the right speed, and boat seems to be handling everything very easily. Maybe go back and do some more pondering. Maybe I'll ponder for the next hour what I'm going to cook for dinner. I definitely need to eat a little bit more healthy. Chips for lunch wasn't that good. You know, it's alright, but it's not really what I need to eat. So I'm thinking about making a cheese and ham and egg omelette. Well, it's probably not much healthier. Or could make a soup. We've got some vegetables left. Could get some meat out of the freezer and do something with pasta. I might just ponder all that for a while. That was a good night. Had a lot of good sleeps. The wind stayed pretty constant. Anyway, we're getting close now. We've got, what have we got? 15 miles to go to the Machamba Island, where I'll have a stop and get some, well, I don't know, just have a look around, I guess. Anyway, awesome, let's get a coffee. Right, coming into this island now. Time to get the sail down, engines on. And keep my eyes out. There's a few rocks around here apparently, but it's a very, very remote place, so I doubt that it's been properly surveyed, so I'll have to keep my eyes on me. Make sure I don't hit anything out here. Right, anchored up safe and sound in here. Yeah, all alone here. I've heard the Border Force plane flew over just before and asked what I'm doing and just chilling. All right, we'll go to the beach and have a walk around. There's a lighthouse up there I might walk up to. There's I can see in the binoculars 2 buckets on sticks, and there's a wreck. So I'll go and check it out. This looks like the old engine here. It's an old 6-cylinder diesel. The tappet covers. This would appear though that's the back of the boat and we're up tanks at front, so I don't know what the engine's doing here, but I guess it just got washed up. But yeah, old wreck. So I've walked over to the windward side of the island. Well, a lot more trash on this side of the island, that's for sure. Shit, here's a nice coconut. I'm going to come and plant this somewhere.
So on this remote island, there's no walkways, no tracks, and it feels so good to be back in these remote parts again. 0 tracks of any sort on the beaches. Yeah, obviously a lot of trash around. You can't seem to get away from that these days. After walking on the beach about an hour, I decided to walk to the lighthouse. Was a bit of a dumb decision. I was sort of in waist to chest high, scrubby. It looks like grass, but it's bloody not nice at all.
Don't worry guys, I am aware that I'm very much alone here. If I twist my ankle, break my leg, get a snake bite, anything, that's pretty much the end of me here. So I'm taking as much care as I can. Obviously taking real care, I wouldn't have come here at all, but what's the point in coming places if you can't explore? Although I'm getting pretty much out of my depth now. Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I came across these whole big section of these rocks, these round sort of rocks, but they look melted sort of, so I'm guessing it's some sort of volcanic action there. Any of you guys geologists in the audience here can give me some heads up on this?
Machamba Island rocks. Flight of the Conchords, steal that one.
Well, I was bloody buggered after 3 hours of walking around this whole island. It's so good to be back in this sort of environment. I just love it. But yeah, I was getting pretty thirsty and hungry. Time to head back to the boat. I did have a little surprise waiting for me at the beach. I wasn't completely alone on this island, as you'll see.
Right guys, I'll finish up this video here. Thanks for watching. I hope that was an enjoyable one. My first longer passage alone on this boat, offshore. And yeah, couldn't have gone better really. Bloody smooth as. This boat is, yeah, it's pretty good. I always used to think solo sailing catamarans was irresponsible just because you can't feel it when it's heeling and blah, blah, blah. I'm starting to learn that, you know, it does talk to you a little bit. Just have to, you know, learn the language of this boat, and I am slowly getting it. I don't feel really irresponsible or dangerous sailing this boat. Obviously by myself I'm definitely being more conservative than I would be if there was someone else with me, but that's okay. We still get along pretty good speeds, you know, even being super conservative. Anyway, I was considering going for a swim when I got back from my big hike around the island, because I was so hot and covered in, I don't know, scratches and all my legs from hiking through that bloody bush. And I was going to go for a swim. I was looking around here, it's just sandy beaches, no mangroves, clear water, and I was like, there's no way there's crocs around here. But then when I was getting the dinghy, I saw a suspicious looking thing sticking out of the water, and thought, oh, that doesn't look that great. Come back out here, and as you can see, yeah, saw a bloody croc, a big one too. And he was hanging out by the beach, and as soon as I came back here in the dinghy, I flew the drone up and looked at him, and he was on his way out here. And then he saw I guess he felt the drone hovering above him, and dived down, came back up, dived down again. But yeah, they're pretty sneaky. He was definitely coming out to check out what this boat is in his territory. Anyway, it's all fun and good. I just had a freshwater shower instead. Thanks, patrons. You guys are awesome. It really, really makes a difference for us. Marie's there in France, getting bigger by the day. Going to pop soon. Hopefully I'm going to make it back there before she does. She's holding on. And yeah, you guys' support is making this all possible, and obviously soon we'll have another mouth to feed. So yeah, it's great the support you guys are giving. Obviously we'll be back in Indonesia at some stage, where things were a bit cheaper than they have been in Australia. I just felt we were sort of hemorrhaging money all the time, but that's what comes with getting a new boat and a bigger boat, and all the teething problems and all that sort of thing. But anyway, great you guys are supporting us with this, the hard work we put into these videos. Anyway, next week's video will be going from here to Darwin. It's about 400 miles, something like that. Yeah, 415, 420 maybe. I think it'll be about 2 days and a half. So 2 days, 2 nights, and then the next day should get in the evening if I leave here early. And then yeah, we'll be in Darwin for a couple of days, few days, maybe 5, 6 days, clear out there and head over to Indonesia. Anyway, that's all in the future. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.